Time for a re-review, time for a re-shootout. Going to put the Ardbeg 10 against the Ledaig 10. I have done this about 2 years ago. Ardbeg came out on top, Ledaig was a wee bit new to me. 2 years down the road, what's the difference? Have any of them improved? Have any got any better? Have any got any worse? Let's find out. Well, hello there folks, and welcome back to the Whisky Friend with me, Alan. Here we are again. It's another shootout, and boy have we got a shootout here. I've been asked many times. I've recently been asked by a couple of Patreons if I can put these two together. I did do them 2 years ago, and they want to see what the difference is. Have they got any better? Have they improved? Has any got any worse? So we're going to dive into Ardbeg 10, Ledaig 10. Just give you a quick rundown of the tapes. 46.3 on the Ledaig ABV and 46% on the Ardbeg 10. Both got the 10-year-old age statement. Both state that they're non-chill filtered. None of them say anything about colour. I'm pretty sure the Ardbeg 10 is natural colour. No too sure on the Ledaig 10. I think there may be a little bit of colouring in there. Colouring in the glass, you can see that the Ardbeg on my right is the straw colour, and there's a little bit of kind of caramelly, toffee, vanilla coloured on the Ledaig. I've poured them about an hour ago, so they've been sitting waiting to open up. I've had them covered up by, it's probably right in a minute, Whiskey Battle coin, batch 3 coins. I've got number 187 on the Ardbeg and number 188 on the Ledaig. The eagle eyes of you would probably notice that we actually have some nice new Whisky Friend Glencairn glasses kicking around in a minute. So this is the very first time I've cracked out and used one on a video. Yes guys, they're available. Coins are available. Glasses are available. I'll pop all the links into the description. If you want to pick up to support the channel, you can pick up some coins down there and pick up some glasses down there. So let's get into the review of this, guys. So yes, 2 years ago I did these. I was pretty much very early on my peated journey. I've spent the last couple of months now just pretty much 100% on peated whiskies. So I'm hoping that I've got a wee bit more of an insight to these two than I did before. I think I just gave you a quick spoiler on the scores. I think I scored the Ardbeg 89 and the Ledaig 87. Just if you hold on to the end, guys, the scores are going to be a wee bit different. So, not to be a spoiler, but yes, there's a difference in the scores, guys. So if you've watched the video before, then I'm very thankful for watching that. Let's dive into these two. Where will we start? Let's start with Ardbeg. Classic Islay smoke, Islay peat, straw colour. The glasses are nice, aren't they? that bonfire smoke's there, that distant bonfire, that barbecue smoke. But what I find with these folks now that I'm a wee bit more acclimatised to peat, it's just not all about the peat anymore. Whereas I think if you're new to peat, and you're new to this type of whiskey, then the first things you hit on is the peat, and it just throws you off completely. But now I've got a wee bit more peated rams under my belt. It's smoky, it's bonfire, it's got all that stuff, it's got all that classic Islay notes, it's got the sea breeze, it's got the salty, it's got the brine. But once you get past it, it's got a real lovely citrus, appley note, baked apples, stewed apples, some bananas in there, a little bit of tropical note in there as well, some nice ripe banana. But the peat's there, it's beautifully integrated, it's not dominant, the fruit's not dominant, the peat's not dominant. That road tar's there, if you that kind of tarmac, if you're passing and a new road is being laid, then you'll have that road tar smell. But there's a beautiful minty note in here as well, which is always classed as kind of, and I usually always get it in this Ardbeg 10, is that kind of spearmint, Wrigley's spearmint chewing gum note. The seaweed's there, the brine's there. It's a little bit vegetable, little veggie note, a little bit outdoor, a little kind of pungent note. But there's a lovely sweetness around all of this. It's beautifully held together, it's beautifully complex on the nose. Smoky, peaty, fruity, little hint of spice in the back. And that beautiful nutty note, there's a real nice nutty element there as well. So just a beautiful all round complex nose of a classic Islay 10-year-old whiskey. So sweet, lovely sweetness. But we know it's not all about the nose, folks. Let's dive into this one and send it down the hatch and see what we get. Cheers, folks. Spicy arrival. A little bit of pepper, white pepper, ginger. Spicy kick, a little bit of intensity. Not overly intense, not overly powerful. It's just a nice, lets you know that it's there. The mouth feels nice. It's not the thickest mouthfeel in the world. It's not the oiliest in the world. But the smoke's there, the peat's there, the spices there. And then once you really get into the arrival is smoky, peaty, dry. Lovely arrival. As you get into the development, it becomes a little bit more sultana, raisin, bit of dried fruit, banana, pears, lemon oil. Don't get me wrong, guys, the smoke's there, the sootiness is there, the dryness is there. It's just a complex whiskey. Spicy, it's usual, it's briny, it's salty. A little bit of coastal, a little bit of maritime. All the things you expect from Islay. Wow. Beautiful balance. There's a real nice... Listen to my second sip of this, folks, see if I can find some more. Does it look as if I'm enjoying the peat? It's all going on. It's lemony, citrus, bananas, pears, lemon. Then it gets into that dried fruit, as I said. Spices there throughout. It's not quite as intense on the second sip as it was in the first one. That bonfire on a beach is there, that smoky, distant, barbecued, a little bit of barbecued meat in there, but it's not overly meaty. It's not overly it's not overly savoury either. It's very sweet. Nice and malty. Just a beautiful. All the Ardbeg 10s I've had before, a lot of people have said that the Ardbeg 10, it's not what it used to be. I'm not too sure because I've not got that much of a history. I've drunk it over the years, but not in steadily. I've had it from time to time. This for me smells great, tastes great. You guys dive into the comments if you don't think the Ardbeg 10 is as good as it used to be. But that lovely vanilla sweet, got a beautiful sweetness, whereas on my early days in whiskey I thought the smoke, the peat, the pungentness, it was just off-putting. But now I've spent a bit of time, there's some really lovely sweet notes in here as well. Let's do a little bit for the finish and then I'll move on to the Ledaig. Finishes, it's long, it's gingery, white pepper, that lemon oil, that lemon citrus, and the smoke are all there. It's lingering, it's warming, it hangs around. The aroma in the room just spells with... Obviously I've come out of the shed today, folks, because we've had a burst of storms in a minute, so the shed's not the best place to be just now, so I've come indoors. Wow, that's lovely. Let's take a little bit of water and I'll dive into the Ledaig. So sweet. Okay, let's dive into the Ledaig 10. Tobermory Distillery up there on the Isle of Mull. Ledaig is their peated whiskey. Tobermory is bottled up as their unpeated. This comes in at 46.3% ABV. The first thing I get on this Ledaig now is I'm thinking this was going to be much. When I did this 2 years ago, the first thing I got was peat and smoke and all that kind of briny coastal elements. But now this is developed. I say this is my second bottle of this now, and this one's been open now probably 3 or 4 months. I've not been back to it for about 3 or 4 months. The first thing is it's how sweet it is. Yes, guys, it's peaty, it's smoky. But once you dive into it and get past that peat and smoke, it's tropical. I'm thinking macaroon bars. I've just recently done one in Ledaig in Edinburgh on a private tasting, and I got that Ledaig macaroon kind of coconut note. It's definitely here as well. Little top tip, guys, when you finish your dram, just leave your coin on it, maybe overnight, leave it for a bit of time, go back to it. You'll get so much more on the nose once you go back, maybe a couple of hours later. All those fruity notes, elements. Don't get me wrong, if it's a real smoky one, the smoke will find its way through. But yeah, this is, again, it's really aromatic on the nose. Peaty, it's not an Islay peat. Don't know why, don't tell me why, but I can tell the difference between an Islay peat and a kind of island peat. It's this, the difference with this one is the Ardbeg 10 was more kind of bonfire smoke, bonfire meats, barbecued meats, distant smoke. This one is much more smoked meats. Predominantly maybe smoked fish, maybe some kippers. Definitely a smokehouse note to this one. But the citrus in this, but it was lemon in the... I don't know if I'm being influenced by the colour, guys. I think the Ardbeg's very lemony looking. The Ledaig's a little bit more orangey. But I'm picking up a real nice orange citrus, maybe a wee bit sticky, a wee bit marmalade-y note going in, but it's nutty, it's toffeed, it's caramel, it's honey, beautiful honey note, some lovely again, really sweet vanilla. The thing, if there was one thing there's a couple of things they have in common, guys. You have the 10-year-old age statement in common, you have the non-chill filter in common, but they both have this real sweet note on the nose. Sweetness right throughout. This is a little bit more orangey, that's a little bit more lemony. They're both nutty, and they're both there's a little spicy note going on in both, but this again, it's that beautiful toffee, vanilla sweetness, banana, pears, orange, but it's a smokehouse peat against the kind of barbecued smoke peat. Bonfire peat, or bonfire smoke really. But let's see how this one goes down the hatch. It's the Ledaig 10, 46.3% ABV. Cheers, folks. It's different. This one is a little bit more intense, a little bit more powerful. Yes, there's 0.3 of a difference in ABV. Not too sure if the Ledaig may have just younger whiskey in it and the Ardbeg might have a touch older stuff in it. The Ardbeg seems a wee bit more delicate, a wee bit more rounded. The Ledaig is a wee bit more intense, a wee bit more powerful, a wee bit more aggressive. I always remember when I did this 2 years ago how aggressive it was. It's not quite as aggressive now. But it's nutty, it's toffee, caramel. There's a really nice savoury note in here as well. It's savoury, fruity, spicy. Again, it's all going on. And as you head through the development, heading towards the finish, there's a really lovely licorice note comes in. Aniseed. But it's clean, it's crisp. It's balanced. Again, that sweetness is there in both. So this is becoming a real, I think this is a classic battle, folks. I think this is a real shootout between two fantastic whiskies. Not much difference in price, not much difference in age, the same age statement. ABV's pretty much there and thereabouts. But it's so different. So, if you're an Ardbeg fan, then you're going to be diving all over this Ardbeg all day long. But let me know in the comments, guys, if you're an Ardbeg fan and you've tried Ledaig, what's your thoughts on Ledaig, and vice versa. If you're a Ledaig fan and you've tried the Ardbeg, do you find the difference? I think if you're fanboys of both, you're going to give them as your preference. But if you're new to it and you're kind of doing the same kind of thing as me, and you're trying to find where to kind of plant your roots on the peaty journey, let me know in the comments. Let's do a little bit for the finish on this one, and then we'll kind of score them and get going. Finish. Long, smoky. I know that sounds, it's a kind of smokehouse smoky. It's dry. That licorice is hanging on right into the finish. It's warming, but it's such a sweet dram. A little bit of spice, just pepper in the tongue now as well. Little peppery note. Just a quick descriptor on both of these. If I was to describe both of these whiskies in a kind of statement, it would be bonfire on a beach. This would be a kind of standing on a dirty harbour and there's a smokehouse in the background. That's the kind of difference in both of these. So they've got absolutely fish restaurant, maybe fish restaurant, smoked meat restaurant, barbecued on the beach, bonfire, real wonderful stuff, both of them, and they're very different. Everything else is pretty much the same, but when you actually take them from the bottle to the glass, there's massive differences. I think for me, the peated stuff that I've done through my journey, I think Ardbeg, I've stuck to the traditional, the Oogies, the Corryvreckens. Ledaig, I've picked up maybe a wee bit more. When it comes to Ledaig, it's a wee bit more kind of single cask, or I've visited somewhere and I get a real nice Ledaig 13, 15, 20, whatever they are. They've all been fantastic. They all have that kind of coconut macaroon bar kind of note to me. But yeah, okay, enough waffling. What would we score these whiskies? So, I have scored them before. I did promise you earlier that the score was going to be a wee bit different, and let me tell you why. Ardbeg, I've tried much more Ledaig over the last couple of years than I have Ardbeg. I've done the usual I've done lots of peated whiskies. I've done Lagavulin 8s, Lagavulin 12s. I've done the Oogies, the Corryvreckens. The Ledaig, for me, it tends to be more, the 10's a staple for me. I've pretty much, this is my second bottle in a couple of years. I went through it. For a non-peaty head, I think that's pretty cool to have a couple of bottles. This is just a fresh bottle of Ardbeg 10 I've opened, so I've done a few Ardbeg 10s over the last couple of years. The difference for me is where I think Ledaig, they're experimenting a wee bit more. I think Ardbeg are kind of relying on everything I seem to see coming out for Ardbeg is these new special editions, and they're pricing you out of the market. Don't get me wrong, I've picked up a few of them. One of the things that I've found is the new Ardbeg 8 was a real surprise at 50.8% ABV. I'm really hoping that becomes part of the core range. The Oogies, the Corryvreckens, yeah, there's a wee bit of an argument. Are they as good as they were before? Is Ardbeg concentrating on their core range as much as they are on the exclusives? Not too sure. Dive into the comments and let me know what your thoughts are. Ledaig, I've tried a few I've had a few independent bottles of Ledaig. I've had a couple of original bottlings in Ledaig. I've done the Rioja. I've tasted the Rioja. Very nice. There's lots and lots, and I've found with Ledaig, they seem to be doing a wee bit more experimenting, and I'm really chuffed with that. But on these two, on a shootout, just purely on them today, I'm going to change it a little bit. I think the Ardbeg 10 for me is going to drop back a point, just a little bit, because I think it's one of those. I've tried so many fantastic peated whiskies of late, and I've gave some great scores. This one just feels, in that grand scheme of the stuff that I've done, it's maybe not as dominant as it was before. When I did it 2 years ago, this was the bad boy of peated whiskies, of core range peated whiskies. I think the others have caught it up, so I'm going to give this an 88. But the difference with the Ledaig, I think I've tried some fantastic Ledaigs. This is no difference. This is a fantastic 10-year-old. I'm going to up it a couple of points, so I'm going to give it, because value's there in both of them, availability's there in both of them. It's part of 2 fantastic core ranges. I'm going to give this an 89. So I think on today's battle, I think we've flipped it round. I think the Ledaig 10 is just nicking it a little bit at the minute for me this time. I'm going to get the Ardbeg screamers in the comments. I'm going to get the Ledaig waving their hands in the air. So dive in, guys. Let me know any thoughts on it. What's your feelings? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there any Ardbegs that I should try that I've not tried? Is there any Ledaigs that I should look out for? Just let me know in the comments. And that's pretty much, guys. If you've not hit that subscribe button, guys, what are you waiting for? Again, friendly reminder from me to thee, it still doesn't cost you anything. It's still completely free, and you're still helping the channel massively on its way to the magical 6k. Can't believe I'm saying that now. I'm going to pop some fantastic cards up above here and there, guys. If you want to get into those peated whiskies that I've tried, click into those links and please follow and watch those videos. I'm going to pop a little load of videos on the end. I'm going to give a big shout out, massive shout out to my Patreons, guys, because I don't feel they get enough from me. They've been loyal, they've stuck by me. Some have come, some have gone, but all the guys, if you fancy checking out the Patreon page, just dive in, have a look. Feel free, click in, check it out. If you want to subscribe to the Patreon, I'd be over the moon. If you want to pick up some coins or some glasses, all the links will be in the description, guys. Until the next one, I'm Alan. As always, the pleasure is in the sharing. And which one will I send down the hatch? Well, it looks like I've got a wee bit more Ledaig left, so down the hatch, folks. Until next time, bye bye.